Welcome to the round table. I am Jennifer Eller, and with me today, I have to call you back my partner in crime. So
that's back to the
So Ricardo Molinax asked me on Sunday, he's like, you used to call Mike your partner in crime, and now you don't do that anymore.
Do
and
I look like a partner in crime?
I don't know. And I'm like, I really have never done too much bad in my life. He's like, then why did you say that? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, you were the Miss Perfect? Is that how it works?
I was not.
You're like the rose between two thorns here? Is that what you're trying to say? Did you see how she kind of just snuck that in a little bit? Just to let you know, I haven't done much bad in my life, but you two.
No. I have done bad things in my life. I just never got caught. But I just had to throw that out because he kind of called me out on that. It's like, you used to say that. I'm like, I don't even know why I said
partner
that.
in crime.
My partner in crime here.
I'll take whatever
and then Nick Wilson, our producer. And then our guest today is Jamie Tackett. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you.
So what is your favorite genre of music?
I listen to Christian a lot, but I like the 80s hair bands.
Yes.
Who's your favorite?
I've been to a lot of Motley Crue, Poison.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read Motley Crue's book yet?
I haven't read their book, but I watched their movie.
Whew. Yeah, I did too.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You watched The Dirt?
Mm-hmm. I love those things.
Kind of starts off a little funny, doesn't it?
It was wild. There's a
So she has done crying. Crying.
Yeah. If you've watched The Dirt, Jennifer, you haven't been that good. Just saying. I listened to that book. Wow. And then Brady's like, you need to watch it. And I started, and I'm like, now that's a way to start a movie. Holy crap. Yeah. The old days.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love documentaries like that. Learn about people's lives and stories and things that you would just never have thought happened. I mean, we're so naive sometimes too.
Well, a lot of people just watch it on stage and everything, but don't realize the life they're living.
Oh, that was bad. I mean, bad. Yeah. Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard,
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Didn't you just want to be Axl Rose?
Did I want to be him?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't want that hair?
Bon Jovi? Did you like Bon Jovi?
No, I liked all of them.
Did you wish Eric had hair like Bon Jovi?
No.
Did you wish Eric was Bon Jovi?
No.
Just wondering. He was back in the day.
Maybe the money parts.
Did you like the guys with long hair? Was that kind of your thing? Or just
I don't think it's right. Just the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, awesome.
AC/DC, Quiet Riot.
I wasn't into any of those.
No? Billy Idol?
Billy Idol, no, not really. So what was your first concert? We're talking music.
Pantera when I was 15 at Coliseum. Yeah.
I've heard of it. I don't know who they are. Who are they?
It's a very heavy metal band.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I couldn't listen to it today. It would drive me crazy. But
It's like screaming metal.
yeah, it's screaming metal.
Yeah. Like the crazy headbanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
To be 15 again.
Yeah.
You what?
To be 15 again.
Who was your first concert?
I don't honestly know. I mean, I know that Sherry and I went to a Cinderella concert. Do you remember Cinderella?
Really good.
So we did that. And then we used to go to the country concerts, so we were that's when I first started wearing a cowboy hat and wanted to actually be a cowboy. You show up to the country concert with your vest on and your cowboy hat on. And, I mean, you ain't cowboy at all. But, I mean, you kind of feel it, So I don't even remember who all they were. But
Yeah.
what about you?
Milli Vanilli.
Oh, my word. What? Milli Vanilli?
I was a senior in high school. I probably saw some other things, but that was my first, that's the first concert that I ever really remember. I don't think my mom and dad ever took me to concerts. I don't think.
Nick, are you weighing in? What was yours like? Ice baby? Vanilla ice?
No, my first concert that we almost went to.
Almost.
It got canceled. And me and a friend were gonna go to a Limp Bizkit concert.
Who?
Who?
Limp Bizkit. I know who that is too.
Oh, Limp Bizkit. That is hilarious. Yeah.
Interesting.
Can you like tell something about somebody by the genre of music they listen to?
I don't know.
Do you still listen to that music today?
Yeah, I listened to it at work today.
Yeah.
I listened to Christian for a while, and then I needed to
Like
get through the rut.
when you need pumped up a little bit,
Yeah.
gotta get some Nickelback. Or do you like Nickelback?
I don't think I know any of their songs.
What?
I know you like them. I don't think I know any of their
Nick,
songs.
you like Nickelback?
I do.
I've seen them in concert too.
Have you really?
It was really good.
Oh yeah, they awesome. Man, when you want to just like, yeah, you need that every once in a while. I used to listen to some Eminem songs, but that ain't gonna happen no more.
Why?
Well, I don't want to get us canceled, so I can't say any of these things. I mean, that's the new thing, right? Like you can't say
censored,
anything because you're gonna get censored. Whatever. Better move on before I start getting us censored. 'Cause that
Okay.
will probably happen if I go into that subject.
Oh gosh. All right.
Everybody knows why I don't listen to Eminem.
Guess I need to watch the news or something. I don't know.
We'll Google it.
Why does Mike Hill not listen to Eminem and see what it comes
Who
up
is
with?
Eminem supporting?
Oh, okay. I know what to do.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll
maybe
figure that
that's,
out.
Maybe
Okay.
that's more of a.
Got it. Okay.
Can't censor me for that, can you? There ain't no censoring me when you don't know what I'm thinking.
Oh my god. Oh no, AI probably knows what you're thinking.
No,
so here we go.
No.
Oh,
you can't
golly.
censor
Okay.
me for my thoughts.
Well, we're going to talk about Jamie. So Jamie was on about a year and a half ago and shared part of her story, but life had kind of taken a different turn, probably this year. And you'd sent me a message, and the last part of it, you said when we were talking about what had happened, and you said that God met you right where you were there at the grave. And that was just like kind of like powerful when you said that. When you were maybe in this deep hole. So I want to go back to a little bit to your childhood to kind of bring people up to kind of what that looked like and what had happened kind of then that took you through, all your adult life into probably what happened to, I don't want to give all that away. So
Yeah,
I'm
don't
trying
give the whole
not to.
story away.
I know, I'm trying not to, and it's not coming out. Like I said, I'm not prepared. So when you were high school, middle school, when did you start
High school, 14.
High school, 14.
Are you from around here?
Yes, I've lived in Huntington all my life.
Okay.
She graduated. She had, her husband was, I know you don't remember.
I'm sorry.
Her high school sweetheart. They went to prom together, and he had pictures without his shirt on and his vest or something like that. And then you start talking about preaching
Yeah.
without
And
like
his
a
mullet.
sleeveless shirt.
He had a mullet too?
So,
Yes.
you don't remember that? You remember that conversation?
Listen,
now? I know. We're
I
gonna act like-
often wonder if this is a real problem. Like, I think I'm like, I wonder if we're getting Alzheimer's or something. Like, I can't remember a lot of things.
You have a
Is
lot
that
of
possibility?
conversations. No, I think probably.
I'm getting Alzheimer's?
I'm getting the same way too. I remember having conversations with people, but I don't remember who that conversation was with. I can tell you something. I'm like, who did I talk to about that?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're gonna act like Mike doesn't know anything about you, Jamie. So you were 14. Started maybe hanging around with the wrong people. Got into some recreational drugs.
Yes. Yeah, I just started using a little bit on Friday nights. I never been an addict, never been addicted, even to this day. But yeah, I was doing acid and stuff at 14, smoking pot. Pills weren't really a thing then. It was more the acid. Then one night, I had went a long time and not done any drugs. And I decided to do crystal meth one night, a lot of it, not knowing anything about it. I was up for like 6 days. That's when anxiety started. I never knew what it was before then, paranoia. From that point on, I've always struggled with anxiety and depression. Doctors have told me there's no connection that they know of. Maybe it was already in me and that just offset it. But something happened when I did that I never been right since.
So, just as an example, so when you're in whatever, 14, 15, 16, this all of a sudden somebody shows up with crystal meth? You know what I mean? Like that's
It was a family member that was addicted to it that we went there and I just decided to try it, even though, like I said, I was really against it. Like, just didn't want no part of it, didn't want anybody I loved part of it, but I don't know why I gave in. I did just a little tiny bit, and it didn't really do too much. So the next day, someone had gotten it, and we did a bunch of it, and that's when it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And it altered something since
Yes.
then. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So then, like all through high school, you anxiety and did like
Well,
intrusive
the
thoughts?
crystal meth wasn't until I was 21.
Oh, okay.
So it was
Wow.
like, I had dabbled in drugs or whatever through high school. And then I got 21. I was already married and, had a kid and everything. But just one night we didn't have her. I did it. And yeah, it really, I took myself to the hospital. Once they realized what it was, they were not very nice to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they tested, you know what I mean? And they told me this is for emergencies only.
Oh,
And they didn't
my
think like
gosh.
tripping out on crystal meth was an
They
emergency?
couldn't do nothing for me. They sent me home.
Just had to
Really?
work its way out of your
Is
system.
that really true? There's
Yeah.
nothing they can do? Holy crap.
So is that the last time that you?
Yeah, I've
did
never
anything-
touched
did
it.
anything
Never
since
touched
then?
it again. No.
Yeah, yeah. You just struggled with the anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you ever during, I don't know, like you're 44, 45?
44.
44. Because you said you were 43 last week. So I'm trying to. Was there any like suicide attempts up until?
No.
No, you just had the thoughts and
I've
you
had
kind of
the
worked
thoughts.
through those.
I've kind of
and-
had, where I think I might do it or something, but it never went any further than that. And it was just like in and out, not constant or anything, but just once you struggle for a month at a time or something, you just start getting hopeless. So
Yeah, so again, just to maybe catch all of us up. So you do it in high school, you get married, you have a kid, you do the crystal meth, and then you stop doing drugs altogether?
I smoke pot and stuff, but not anything hard.
Right. But from that time, so your husband in this situation is like, can I help you? Where did all of that part fit in? Did your kids?
Really,
your
he didn't
daughter
understand
notice?
it because, throw him on the bus, but he was the one that did it with me, and it didn't do anything to him. So to him, it's like we did the exact same thing. Like,
Got it.
it makes no sense.
Right.
And I don't know why it did something to me and not him, and that's where it might have been already in me to have the potential for it, and that just, kicked it in.
Right.
So.
But there was that, and so for him, it wasn't like, hey, can I help you, support you? It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, he's more, I would say more confusion than anything. Like, he would try, he's tried to, can I help you and everything, but
Right.
he just don't know how. There's not really anything he can do, you
Right.
know?
And the same with your daughter, like as she gets older or as she got older, right through that, did she notice any of those things?
Oh,
Or is it-
yeah. She's known I've always struggled, and she can remember me, going to bed early and not being able to get up off the couch, different things growing up and stuff here and there.
Yeah, so that's why I was trying to figure out if in the midst of that, how the family or people around you were reacting or how they could help or what they saw or noticed, but nobody could really help. Or what was your process of like, how am I gonna beat this? Like, or how-
Doctors after doctor after doctor, pill after
really?
pill.
and nothing worked.
I would get good for a little while, whether it be the medicine or just the cycle. I cycle in and out of it. It's like
Okay.
I'll be doing good for a while, and then here it starts to creep, and then it just goes downhill, and then I do good for a while, and it's just like a cycle that comes back.
Are there certain things that trigger it or did trigger it? Or 'cause
People ask me that, but I can't think of anything. It's just like
Yeah.
I start waking up that way. There are things like, I worry about what people think, or I assume people think this, or I have a lot of my own issues that
Sure.
don't help it, but a lot of times it's just waking up to it.
Right. Well, I think everybody has a predisposition of like very few people are just going to go through life and not really care what other people think or
Yeah.
if life isn't good.
Yeah.
I just think there's a predisposition that's a little bit worse on how we handle, the circumstances of life and the things that go with it. Right.
Yeah.
Because before you didn't have any issue handling any of those things. And,
Yeah.
so it just triggered that from there. So again, were you guys in church, not in church? Like, how was, like, at any point in there, was God involved?
I didn't go to church until I think it was like 2007.
Okay. Like never growing up, or
I mean, we were Catholic. We went to CCD and stuff when we were younger, but you don't learn really that much. To me, you know what I mean.
Right.
It's different listening to you preach versus going to a Catholic church. You know.
right?
And thank God my mom started coming here, and she even sees that difference. She's always been a Catholic, you know, and so yeah, she recently started coming with us. But no, I started going in 2007 myself. I went for a few years, part of the women's small group, all that stuff. Anxiety got really bad again. I was doing all the right things that you're supposed to, the religious stuff, and so I walked away for many years.
Okay.
And then I started coming here probably a couple years ago.
Right. Yeah. So what did anything happen between whatever you said, 07 and where we are today that like brought you back to the place of like, I mean, because I would say where you are today is significantly different than where you were in 2007.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what are some of those markers, or what have been some things that helped you? Because I'm just going to say, I'm going to assume that you're better, like that you don't struggle.
No, I struggle still.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't, I just finally, because I've always asked God, the healing. And that's why I started going to church. And the very first time I ever went in was for the healing. I realized that my healing may not come on earth. One day it will, but I just have to accept that I'll keep praying, but I may never get it here. And, just having to, rely on him to get me through that time.
So that was a big barrier back then, though, right? Because you went and expected God to.
Yeah, I was just doing all the. I mean, I didn't want to get up and go to church sometimes, but I forced. I mean, I didn't want to go on Wednesday night sometimes, but I put everything, I was doing everything you're supposed to do.
Right. And if I do these things,
Yes.
God will listen and God will hear and things will be better.
And now I know a difference. I have the relationship. I never lost God, even when I prayed. I still did all the things, still journaled or, prayer journals, all that stuff. I just wasn't involved in church.
Right. And what brought you back?
Andrea Diamond.
Okay.
When she was in the Remnant, I started going to different churches with her when she was in that program, and it just, and then they came here, and I just stayed here ever since I came here with them.
Yeah.
Felt like home.
Yeah. And what do you think the biggest difference in your life now is from back then?
I've seen God work a lot more than back then. My husband had cancer when I was going back then, and I had a strong faith through that and stuff. But there's been more, once you hear more of my story, I mean, I've actually seen God perform miracles. So,
yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, tell us more of your story then. Like, how have you seen God? And did that happen in that period in between when you not walked away, you weren't in church until you got back in church, or? Like,
it was more recent.
Okay.
Do you want me to just kind of
go
start?
ahead. Yep.
So pretty well after I had gotten off the podcast, I was starting a new job at Grace and Mercy. And in December, I started getting really bad again. Just in a very dark place, the anxiety. We call it anxiety. The only way, this is like an extreme way to explain it to you, but if you're in a room and everybody around you's been murdered, what you're going to feel like, your body, the nervousness, the fight or flight, the confusion, you can't think straight. That's what I was living every single day. Like my body is in that mode and I can't get rid of it. I don't care what I do.
right.
So it was just getting worse and worse. In February, we lost our dog. That kind of really, he was a big part of my life, and just life started happening on top of already feeling like that every single day. I started having to quit jobs. Like, I've always been a person that's held a job through all of this, struggle. And I couldn't hold a job. I quit Grace and Mercy. I went to another job. I kept it for like 4 weeks. I had to quit it. And then I got another job and had to quit it. Like, it just, by the end of it, like all those months of going down that road, I was to the point where I couldn't drive my car. I was laying on the couch with my eyes closed 24 hours a day. Wow. Like, my husband was coming home and he was like, it feels like death here. We had a dog that was getting old, passing away, and then there was me. And he's just like, and lost. Like, bless his heart, he would like he went through our refrigerator and he's like, there were some old sauces in the door. And I was wondering, maybe did you eat something that's making it? He was trying to figure it out and trying to be supportive. But at the same time, when you have somebody that's telling you, because I would say, so that was July, probably in May, I think, I started telling, I was going into my prayer warriors. I was like, I'm suicidal. Like, this is going to happen. Like, I feel it in my spirit, you know? And Andrea and Bethany and them, I would get with them. They would pray over me, pray the spirit away. You know, I was just reaching out to my prayer warriors at that point and had people praying. Then it got to the point where I was telling my husband, like, I'm going to commit suicide. Like, I can't do this. So one night, it was getting pretty late, and I was just up. You know, a lot of nights I would just pace my room, up all night, just a nervous wreck. And I went down to my husband. I'm like, I'm not okay. Like, I'm going to commit suicide. I need help now. And he didn't know what to do. So we called Bethany, and she kind of works with it. And she got on the phone with him, and they got me, took me to the emergency room. He took me to the emergency room. I was on suicide watch all night. I'm out there. And the next morning, he transported me to Parkview Behavior. I made it 8 hours in that place, and I could not do it. Like, I was already so ramped up in a nervous wreck, and then there was people having behaviors. I was in with men, women. So I called him. I'm like, you got to come and get me. And he didn't want to.
You were all like in like a same
it was
room,
like well, it was like a hallway. The hallway was not even like this size of this room. It was just a small hallway with doors off of it, and we're all crammed, and you're locked in.
by yourself or with other people?
With all these other people.
Oh, my.
Yeah, you're just, and there was people having behaviors, meltdowns, big men like yelling out. And then I was in a suicide, so I had like plastic pillow, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't have, and I just paced that, you know, I just had to leave. So he came and got me. He wasn't happy about it because it's like, you need help, but I wasn't going to get help there. Like it was just overstimulating me. So, I think it was like 2 months later, I just got to the point where, you know, I've been telling people this is going to happen. I'm reaching out like you're supposed to, going to doctor, the pills, anything I could think of, psychiatrist. Nothing was working. And I was just to this point, no job, can't get off my couch, can't drive my car, can't take this no more. So I took one of my prescriptions, and I took about 40 pills and went up and laid in my bed and just... I was done. I text my sister, my daughter, I love you. My sister kind of caught on. She's like, are you trying to tell me something? And I'm just like, I'm trying to tell you I love you. Did nothing. Like I felt nothing, did nothing. It did nothing. So 2 days later, I did the same thing. I took my other prescription. I took about 40 of them. And it just got me so high that I couldn't even, I was walking into walls, laying sick all day. I finally called my sister and was like, you know, my husband's going to know something, you know, come get me. And I told her what I did, and I promised her, or I made her promise before I told her, I'm like, you can't tell anybody what I'm going to talk to you about. And, you know, she promised, and then she's like, because that's the first thing she said when I came out. She's like, you look so high. What is wrong, you know? And so I ended up staying the night with her that night. And I told her, I'm like, you know, we have a gun, but my husband don't leave the guns out or anything like that. I never see him, you know. I told my sister, I'm like, you know, I'm done doing this. I'm like, I would need a gun to even, and I'm not going to get a gun. So a couple days later, my husband was running late for work, and I look in, and he forgot the gun. So I knew at that moment, I'm like, this is my chance. I'm supposed to do it. My warped mind even kind of thought maybe he left it so I would. Like, I'm having all these thoughts. So I started pacing the house back and forth. Like, I just knew I'm supposed to do this. So I finally, I would pick it up. I'd put it back, pick it up. So I looked up, will it hurt if you shoot yourself in the head? And it told me that the bullet would ping through my head so fast that I wouldn't feel it. So I grabbed the gun. I went out to my dog's grave out back at our tree, and I got on my knees, and I fired a round. And the gun went off. and then I pulled it under my chin, and I pulled the trigger, and the gun didn't go off. I tried again and again and again. The gun would not go off. I went back in and put it away. I paced my house, took it back out, tried again. Gun wouldn't go off. So at this point, I am not happy. Like, I was desperate to leave. Like, I know people say it's selfish and all the things, but I was not a person anymore. Like, to me, I'm not doing my family any good. I'm not even a person anymore. I know my husband would have came home and found me that day, and what a terrible thing to do to your husband. But in my mind, I needed to go. So, in my mind, I thought I shot his last bullet out of the gun. Like, he's going to know I messed with the gun. The bullet's gone. So I'm like, I have to tell him when I shot the gun, So I made him supper, and he came home late from work that night, and he was eating. And after he got done eating, I was just like, I shot your last bullet out of your gun. He's like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that gun is full. It's loaded, completely loaded, 12 bullets. So I'm like thinking, well, then it got jammed, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, it won't go off. It just won't. And then I finally told him what I did. I told him about the pills. I told him everything. And his response was, this is the stupidest conversation I've ever had. Like, he's like, what are you going to do? Just keep trying to commit suicide until you succeed? And I told him, that's what I've been doing. And right there when I said those words, I grabbed my phone, and I looked up Parkview Behavior's number again. I thought that's who I was talking to, but it was actually Allendale in Auburn. They kept me on the phone while I was packing my clothes and everything. And they came and got me. And it was like an hour away. And I stayed in that program for 32 days. I was away from home. Missed my daughter's birthday, my dog's eye removal surgery. The first 2.5 weeks were terrible. Like, I still felt that way. You had to go to groups all day long, and they make you talk in front of everybody. And, you have to journal and read what you wrote. So I would go to group all day, but like at 3:00 was free time. Like, you were done for the day. I would go to my bed from 3:00 until the next morning, every day. I wasn't sleeping. I was only sleeping like 2 hours a night, so I'd be like wide awake. I was in a room with either 2 or 3 girls. It depended on what room we were in. Sometimes we had to switch rooms, but snoring, you know what I mean? Having to share a bathroom. It was terrible, but the program is amazing, if that makes any sense. I gained 20 pounds there because that's the general rule there. You're in for 30 days, gain 30 pounds. Because lunch and supper are both catered in from restaurants every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So the food was amazing, and it was the only thing you had to look forward to. So we all were getting fat. But there you weren't locked in. You could go walk around the building. They had like a smoke pit. You could go and sit and smoke cigarettes. Everybody was just uplifting to each other. A lot of the people were in there for alcohol, was a lot of what I seen. Some drugs. There was like 6 of us that were mental health. One thing that was really cool about it, they do a coin ceremony right before you leave, and everybody in the whole place, there's like 45 people, which mostly are guys. I think there was 5 of us girls. And there's people coming and going all the time too, at different, but they do a coin ceremony, and everybody passes your coin around, and they say whatever they want over it. They say something to you about you, or just, I was the most improved from one of the staff members that worked there for 3 years. I was the most improved from the time I went in to the time I left. And then I had made a comment that this is not for me because I'm not drug and alcohol. And a lot of it's geared towards that. They actually revamped their program, and they took us 6 mental health and started having classes just for us.
Wow.
So they told me that, you're a legacy of changing what we did here. So that was pretty cool too, but yeah, they go 8 hours away and get people.
Wow.
And stuff. So it's a really good program.
What do you think some of the breakthroughs were? I mean,
I think a lot of it's just the detox. There were some people that would come there so drunk that they were putting on IVs and stuff,
Right.
and then the detox there, you know,
Right.
being away from it. Everybody was just amazing at lifting each other up.
Right.
You know, they had AA classes like every night. That was another thing they did. They had AA classes. They started a mental health one too. So we could just go to that one if we wanted to, in that change.
Yeah, so like for you, was it, hey, I started journaling and I started like, I mean, again, I know you're still still struggle, but was there something that was like, I learned something, or there was a breakthrough there, that there was something that gave me the ability to be where I am today?
I learned some breathing stuff. You know, God says to replace every thought or hold every thought captive, and it's hard to do. But when you really try, you can do some of that. That I was just letting it go. I would say the medicine. Because I seen a psychiatrist there. I seen a therapist. We had therapy sessions. They said that I was not bipolar, and I was diagnosed with bipolar a long time ago. So it's just followed me. So they were giving me medication for bipolar that I didn't need. I needed something different.
Right.
I have a genetic disorder. I don't make serotonin like I should. And she said with that genetic disorder, they had me on medication that doesn't work for me.
Oh, wow.
So I would say, you know, because it was about 2.5 weeks, and then it was just like, boom, Jamie's out of her room, socializing with people. I was so proud of the night that I didn't go to my bed until 10 o'clock at night, you know. I mean, I celebrated that because it was just, I was just a different person. I still didn't feel like 100%, but it was a huge difference.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And the medication, was that big of a change, or was it the combination of everything?
I would say it's a combination of everything.
Okay.
You pretty well, too, another thing is it's not very often that we go somewhere and only us do we have to worry about.
Yeah, right.
You know, when your mom, your wife, none of that mattered there.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
I only got 10-minute calls every other day, you
Right.
know.
You could focus on yourself.
You have to focus on it. That's all there is to do, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's a big part of that. Just, you know, no work, no light, you know, just, there's a lot of things to it, but.
Right.
So they have like, I mean, is any of it Christian based in any aspect, or did you have a Bible with you, or was it just on your own merit where you had to just spend time with God on your own?
They had service. They showed Fort Wayne Church. There was a church in Fort Wayne that you could go in and listen to it every Sunday if you wanted to, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
They even did a shout out to Allendale every Sunday. They did have some of our groups that you could sign up for, like you could choose out of 4, and then it would be a Bible study, and they would study whatever was, you know, in the last Sunday service. So there was some of that. All the AA meetings, we all, you know, held hands and said the Father's Prayer. You know, we ended it with that. There was one lady, Sherry, I'll never forget her. She was just a cool lady. She loved God, and she was not afraid to show it. I mean, she'd get up and worship and, you know, and just sing and get everybody, you know. So there was some of it, but for, it's not really Christian-based per se.
Yeah, I just didn't know what your, how you saw God, you know, when you were up there. It's like, what happened? You know, where did he find you? You know, and.
Well, once I got home, because I had believed this whole time that the gun probably just jammed. I found out that my husband and my daughter took that gun out, and every single shot fired off with no problem. So when I say God met me at that grave, he met me at that grave. Yeah. There's no, anybody could say, well, if it jammed it, there is not. I mean, it was fine, but I tried so many times. Like I was, you know,
your time wasn't done.
And that's what, you know, my biggest takeaway from it is, it's like, I don't believe that God saved me so my husband wouldn't find me that day. Or, you know, my daughter wouldn't have to live without her mom, because we know in this world a lot of people go through those things.
Sure.
I just know there's somebody out there not saved, and God's going to use me to bring them, because that's my only purpose, to be here, you know, so.
I always think it's interesting when people try to explain away the supernatural. You know what I mean? Like supernatural things happen. I mean, we see it all the time when you read scripture. You've seen it in the world today. And so something like that supernaturally happens,
Yes,
right?
it was a
Like
miracle.
God intervenes and does a miracle, and people always want to come up with a logical explanation. And that's why we miss God so much. You know, it's because we want to try to put him in a logical box, right? We want to be like, God is the God that works in logic. Like he shows up in the places that we expect. And I'm like this is the God of the universe. You know, he is not showing up in a box.
Nope.
You know, and why we try to explain away these incredible supernatural interventions. And again, just like you said, with knowing that I need you, right? Like I'm gonna intervene supernaturally, and you're gonna try your hardest, but
Yeah, I did too.
yeah, and it's not your time, you
Yeah.
know, and I have a purpose for you. And
Yep.
yeah, so how is it going after you got out? I mean,
I came home on a high, kind of. You know, you finally get out. You know, ready to go see everybody. You know,
Yeah.
I've still had some struggle, but I'm living. I just started a job today.
Oh,
I was
wow.
having trouble getting a job. Like I
Okay.
looked for 2 months. I went back to factory, and you know how you said we know we're out of shape. We put it to the test. I put it to the test, and what am I gonna do now?
yeah.
But I'm so sore. But no, it's good. The day I got out, my daughter had got me a card and a onesie and everything, and I was gonna be grandma, and that is just what our family needed. But we went to her first ultrasound, and there was no heartbeat. So we've had that in the last couple of months, and I just buried my other dog that had the surgery when I was in there. So life's still throwing curveballs at us, as to be expected.
Yeah.
But I'm handling it with the normal amount of sadness, or you know,
Yeah. Right. Being
Yeah.
able to cope with the normal,
yeah,
cope in a normal way.
Yes.
I guess I don't even know if that's the right word,
Yeah.
right? But trying to figure out, because again, you're right. Like life still throws a lot of
Oh, yeah.
curveballs. Yeah. In your way.
So yeah, just trying to. I got on Facebook, and because I did learn there too. You know, if you speak it loses power. So I shared my story on Facebook and hope somebody. You know, it's not easy to go away for 32 days. That's a long time. Not knowing what to expect, especially after I went to Part B behavior, and I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
you know. But just get the help.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I do think that there are just times where intervention is important. And yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not Parkview Behavioral Health. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it
Yeah.
takes specialized care,
Yeah.
you know, to be able to do those things. And for because again, I mean, that's not I mean, suicide has become a big deal, right? Like that's become more prevalent than ever, really, in a lot of people's lives. So struggling with those thoughts and trying to figure out how to cope with, you know, the challenges of life. Because I think that's the pressures and challenges of life today for a lot of people have become very overwhelming, you know, and the coping mechanisms aren't good. You
And
know?
you can have God, you know, in that, and it still it still attacks you, you know.
Right.
Even good Christians that do, you know what I mean, believe in God and trust and all the things.
Right.
Still, that battle of the mind is a
Right.
real thing.
Right. Yeah, because you're kind of helping people overcome a myth that somehow if you believe in God, you're never going to have bad thoughts.
Yeah, that's
Right.
just not
Like
true.
you're never going to struggle with, you know, the battle of the mind. Although again, back to what's true. I mean, there was a reason that Scripture is very clear on saying, like, you're going to have to capture your thoughts. Like, if you don't capture your thoughts, or if you don't learn to capture your thoughts, and not only capture them, put them up against what's true, because the deceiver, the enemy, regardless of where you're at in your walk with Christ, is going to try to get in your mind, right? And is going to try to deceive you into believing things that are absolutely not true.
Yep.
You know, and so I think I think it's a misnomer. I think we should always be on our guard.
Yep.
You know, I think the battle, in fact, I would say probably more than ever in the past year, I think for me it's been learning that the mind is so powerful. you know, and that it can just, you know, when we get to the place where we have to learn to discipline it, because it just does. It's hard. You know, our thoughts can go in crazy places.
I sit and tell myself I am safe. I am safe, because my body's starting to go in that fear mode, and I have to rewire my brain to think it's safe. You know what I mean? I'm not in danger, but my mind wants to go to I'm in danger when I'm not.
Right. And so, and again, so are there things, if you were going to give some people that are struggling, you know, no matter what the extent is, but people that are struggling with their minds today, and whether it's anxiety, stress, suicide thoughts, would you give them any like recommendations, tools, things to do?
Journaling is a big one that they push up there even. Just getting that stuff down, going back and seeing where you were and where you've come. Prayer warriors, like I said, I was covered in a lot of prayers, you know, during that time.
Right.
It's good to reach out, even though I was reaching out and doing all these things, and it still got me to have to go away, you know.
Yeah.
I was doing everything I could as a person, you know.
Right.
It had to take God to intervene further, you know, to get me to where I'm at today.
Right.
But, yeah, I would definitely say reach out. Don't isolate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay in your Bible.
Yeah. I'm a huge proponent of journaling. You know, I know a lot of people think it's weird, but I'm always like, until you've never really processed your thoughts until you write them down.
Yep.
That's what I always say. Like there's a lot that can go on up here, but until you try to put them onto paper, you know what I mean? And get them down to like, this is what I'm thinking. It allows you to really process that thought and think through it in a way that's not just I don't know how to explain it, like randomly just bouncing around up there.
Yeah.
Which can happen.
I call it a hamster on a wheel. It's like I got a hamster on a wheel, and I got this other part of me that's, you know, sane, trying to fight it.
Yeah. And I just think that's healthy, like to get the thoughts out and to get them out there. And like you said, be able to reach out to people and, you know, and remember too, that the power of prayer is, I mean, it's hard to explain how special that is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to have those people that can pray over you, and the people that can come alongside of you, and the people that you were able to reach out to be able to do those things.
Yeah, and they continue to pray for me, tons of them, when I was in there, and just...
Right.
Yep.
Right. Well, again, I mean, if you don't have anything that you want to add, Jamie, to your story, or anything that you want to share with our audience about anything or anywhere that you've been, and
Can't think of anything off the top of my head.
yeah.
I just know, I just want to reiterate I don't remember quite what I put on Facebook, you know, when you told your story. But I know I told you I was thankful that God didn't take you that day.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I would have known, you know, what you were going through, but I didn't. But just your bravery and sharing that, because a lot of people don't want to share that stuff.
No, I
That's
didn't
hard.
want to, but I
That's
had to.
That's not a proud moment. You know, it's not a proud moment, but God does have something for you.
Yes.
You know, and that you share that story and you bring that to light. You know, when we keep that darkness inside, Satan wins, but we're not going to let him win. You know, God's going to win in your story. And so, yeah, I'm just really thankful that gun did not go off, because that would have been a sad day for, so many people, you know. So many people, the things that he's going to have for you. So
It's like I put on Facebook too that, you know, if you ever say that you've never seen God, you know, perform a miracle, you see it with every breath I take. So,
Amen. Awesome.
yeah.
Well, I mean, again, super proud of you to have the courage to be able to come on and share your story, and to be able to just admit that, I mean, this is where a lot of people in life are, you know, and the degrees might be different, but the thoughts, the processing, the overwhelming, the challenge it's all the same.
it's getting younger and younger too of kids.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that, honestly, I think that it's going to be the biggest crisis that we're going to deal with over the next 10 years, is trying to help work through mental health and helping everybody understand what that looks like, and then, you know, help them along those journeys. So I think your story, like you said, is there's a reason, you know, that you're sharing it, and there's a reason that you have the courage to do it. There's a reason that God intervened and did the supernatural, and I think it's going to continue to do the supernatural with your story, whether it's through somebody that's watching or listening, or somebody that, later on picks this up and is like, just like, I'm searching, and they find, and, you know, and know that they can be able to reach out, because I think that's why he does supernatural things, so he can continue to do supernatural things. Doesn't just end there,
No.
you know, inside of that. So thank you for sharing your story. Thanks for having the courage to be able to come on. Make sure when this comes out that you like, share, comment, because we want to be able to get it on multiple people's feeds. So we'll put it out on Facebook, and then you can share it on there. If you are listening, make sure you watch. That way you can see who Jamie is. And I mean, I think you come to second service. Yeah, most of the time. So you can come up and say hi. She usually goes to the front row.
Yeah.
You know, so
First or second row.
yeah, the good seats. Of
course.
Good seats. So you can come up and say hi. And again, you know, like I said, if you're out there and you're struggling, and you watch this, and when it comes out, I mean, you might not to be able to get. It's not like we're going to put your cell phone out there for people to get a hold. But if you want to get hold of Life Church and be able to us get people in touch with you to be able to help give people resources that they need, we'd love to be able to do that any way we can. So
They can even find me on Facebook. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
bye.